Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and a very warm welcome to my new and personal YouTube channel. My name's Sam, and in this video I'm just going to talk to you about what this YouTube channel is about and what you can get out of it, and why I'm even starting it. So the cornerstone of this whole channel, the main reason why I'm starting it is to document my learning of the Bangla language, or my learning of the Bengali language, if you've not heard of the term Bangla used for it. But Bangla just means Bengali in Bengali, right? And throughout most of the duration of this channel, I'll probably use the term Bangla. I just prefer the term Bangla, and that's what we'll run with. So I want to talk a little bit about who I am to kind of set the stage a little bit, because tomorrow I'm going to be releasing the first entry into my Bangla diary, which is kind of the flagship playlist of this channel, I think. My Bangla diary is going to be a weekly diary, really, with me talking about my journey, going from knowing absolutely no Bangla whatsoever to hopefully getting to a level of like professional competency in the language. And I wanted to do this because I think too often when we see languages teachers and people appear on YouTube who can speak multiple languages, we always get this like polished version at the end, and we don't get to see the process of this individual sounding stupid and making mistakes, and how they actually studied, and how it was difficult to keep up consistency, and what motivated them, and how they would look silly and sound silly in their first conversations with native speakers, and how they doubted themselves sometimes. And I think it would be very valuable for anybody out there who wants to achieve anything in their lives. But most specifically, of course, for languages students who feel like it's very daunting, because like I'm an adult, right? Lots of people learn languages as children and stuff, and that's like a whole topic unto itself as to why that's easier. But a lot of people as adults want to learn a new language for whatever reason, and don't kind of have people out there who they can look to and think, well, that's what the journey looked like. They only get to see, well, that's what the finished product looks like. So in this video, I want to introduce myself a little bit, just to give you guys an idea of what kind of a languages student I am. And and then I'll talk a little bit about why I've chosen Bangla. Those are kind of the main two objectives of this video, really. So firstly, as I mentioned, my name's Sam. I come from a white working class, really, but my family did quite well in work, alhamdulillah. So I'd consider myself like working/middle class. I don't know, make up your own judgments about the way I speak and stuff if you want to assign me a class or whatever. But like, I'm from like a white background, all my family British as far back as we know, like no exotic mix or anything like that. I was born in Northampton, which is like a fairly working class town in the Midlands here in the UK. But then when I was 11, my parents sold their businesses and they moved to Cornwall. And Cornwall is fairly affluent, especially on the coasts where I grew up. And I grew up in a seaside village in Cornwall, probably one of the safest places on earth, one of the most sheltered places on earth to grow up. And that's where I spent the years from like 11 until 18 in my life. And it was in those years when I learned about Islam. Like I was kind of from like a background and growing up. Like I had a belief in a creator, like my whole life really. And when I studied world religions at college, there's probably longer versions of this story out on YouTube elsewhere, but essentially the long and short of it is, my lecturer sent me a link one day to listen to some surahs of the Quran, and the assignment was to write about how it would make a Muslim feel. And as I listened to it, I just knew it would change my life. Like I just listened to this recitation of the Quran, and I knew that it changed my life. I knew I'd spend my life learning and teaching the Arabic language, and so I embraced Islam. And in Cornwall, most of the Muslim community are Bangladeshis, specifically Siletis. In Cornwall, like us white people, we love curry, and when I say curry, I mean authentic dishes that have been made more bland to suit us. That's what we're into more than the authentic stuff. Anyway, so there's loads of Bangladeshis in Cornwall, right? And our Muslim community is mostly made up of Bangladeshis who have restaurants there. So like I immediately was taken care of by the Bangladeshi community, right? Like that was the first community I became familiar with. It was probably the first like Muslim majority language that I'd ever heard spoken and stuff in the khutbahs and things like that when I started going to the masjid to pray Jummah and stuff. And then, so it's maybe only a year after this when I decided to do my degree in the Arabic language. I had initially planned to study English literature and Spanish. That's what I was kind of set to go and study at university, but I changed my mind and decided to apply for an Arabic language degree. And that's why I had to move to London. So I moved to London to do an Arabic language degree. Studied in London for 3 years, and then there was 1 year in the middle as well, so 4 years in total for the degree. 1 year I spent in Palestine, at a university called Jami'atul Najah in Palestine, in Nablus. And after I graduated, I got married and I started working as a primary school teacher. I wasn't good at my job. I loved teaching, and I still do. And I love the kids that I taught. I taught a class of year fours. So year four, for those of you who aren't in the UK, that's like age sort of 8 and 9. And it just didn't work out for me. Like, I just got married and the job just didn't work out for me. I wasn't very good at it. And another problem is that, like, if you're a primary school teacher, you have to compromise on praying your Jumu'ah on Fridays as well. And that was kind of a deal breaker for me, really. It was an easy decision when they were like, look, you have to choose one or the other. That was kind of an easy decision for me. So I left, and the only thing I really knew how to do was teach Arabic. So I just started going to people's houses and teaching kids Arabic. And anyway, that kind of thing just developed into what I do now. Like, I'm a full-time Arabic language teacher now. My program is the Arabic in 60 Steps program. This is a workbook that I've written for the program. And, we have about 600 students or something now. And the program's going well, alhamdulillah. So I'm only telling you this story to give you a little bit of a background as to what my language background is and stuff. Like, didn't grow up speaking any other languages. Studied Arabic at university, and in my final year I took a module in Somali as well. So I also studied some Somali at university level, and my wife is a Somali as well. So I married into a Somali family. And then, like, the first YouTube channel that I started was the Sam of Somalia channel, which was just like not really similar to this, but it was documenting my journey learning Somali. But a mistake that I think I made is just through having an instinct to being a teacher, from having been a primary school teacher and me teaching Arabic, is I presented myself a bit too much like a teacher. And that really boxed me in. Like, that put me in a position where I couldn't really make the mistakes that I wanted to. And it even made me hesitant. Like, if I'd meet people who recognised me from my YouTube channel, which happened quite often, especially here in London, like, I'd feel nervous about speaking Somali with them, because there's like an expectation that I speak Somali because I've presented myself that way on my channel. And that's really unhealthy, and something I've learned to adjust when we do my Bangla diary here, is it's not going to be like that. Like, it's a completely transparent, this is how hard it is to learn Bangla or learn any other language, right? And this is just me doing my best to learn it. Like, I'll make mistakes in these videos, like, almost certainly, right? Like, I would deliberately document me making mistakes in my lessons with my Bangla teachers and stuff, like, almost definitely. So no, I had a big learning curve from that to what we're doing now. So although I'm an adult, like, I'm 28 now, and some other challenges as well that'll go into this. Like, I have 2 children. And we're a busy young family. Like, I'm a husband, and I've got 2 young children. Yusuf, my eldest, is 5, and Yunus, my youngest, is nearly 2. And I'm a really active and involved father, if you know what I mean. Like, I do the school runs, and, like, I'm involved in all the stuff, a lot of stuff at home because I work from home and stuff. So, like, I'm busy. Is the point I'm making of that? I'm not. So sometimes people say things like that. It sounds like they want Husband of the Year award. That's not the point. I would if my wife's watching, but. And I'm just saying this, so, like, those of you guys who have families and you have work and you're busy and stuff like that, that this journey is relevant to you, right? Me trying to fit in language learning and putting money aside to spend on resources and spend on lessons and stuff like that. Those are struggles that we'll sort of talk over and that we'll deal with in this whole series. So that's a little bit about my kind of languages background. Like, even though I have some languages experience, like, I have an A-level in Spanish, I have a degree in the Arabic language, I've done some university level Somali. Like, I'm an adult now. Like, the learner that I am now at 28 is very different. Like, my brain's very different to what it was when I was 16 when I started learning Spanish at college, or like 18 when I started learning Arabic. So, like, I'm an adult now. My life's different. I'm not in education full time anymore. Like, my brain doesn't do learning in the same way that it used to. And so I'm a little bit older and I'm busy. I've got a family. Got the other demands on me that a lot of you guys maybe can relate to. So. Why Bangla, right? Why Bangla? A lot of people have said, well, why not choose a language with a script that you already know? Why not Urdu or Farsi or whatever, right? Why not a language that you already know the script for? And that's exactly the reason, right? Like, one of the main reasons why I started taking Bangla seriously, or wanted to take it seriously, is because one of my Arabic language students was really struggling with the Arabic script, and I realised it's been like 10 years since I started learning the Arabic script, and I found myself really out of touch with what the actual struggles are with learning a new script. So I thought, well, I'm going to learn a new script then. I'm going to become a beginner once again, to show my students that I can still do it, and to kind of empathise a little bit with what it's like to be a beginner when you're an adult. So So I, went on a website called Omniglot, where they have like languages scripts and all kinds of languages profiles and stuff, and that was the first resource I started using for learning Bangla. I'll show you some of the handwriting that I've done. So at the moment, I'm just practicing letters. In my first episode of my Bangla diary, which will be coming out on Sunday, so I don't know when I'm releasing this. It could be the Saturday, it could be Sunday tomorrow. But for my first episode, you'll see some of this anyway. I'll go into more detail about what I've been doing. But these are just some examples of some of the Bangla that I've been practicing writing and stuff, practicing writing the script. And when I started writing it and just started reading around Bangla, I thought, man, this is so underrated. This language is so underrated. Like, how few people are learning it and how few resources there are available compared to how important it is and how many people speak it, it's just mind-blowing to me. Like, there are more speakers of Bangla than there are of French. There are more speakers of Bangla than there are of French. There are nearly as many Bangla speakers as there are Arabic speakers. Now think for a second, okay? In the order of the number of speakers in the world, the two next to Bangla, above and below, are French and Arabic. Now consider how easy it is to learn French or Arabic in terms of resources that are available. You go down any bookshop, right, or go on Amazon, and you'll find pages and pages of resources available for learning either of those two languages. Try it for Bangla. Give it a whirl. See what you'll get. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll get like a handful of books. There's like a handful of universities in the whole Western world that teach Bangla. And I thought, considering like I've met so many Bangladeshis in my life, like, and I'd never really made much effort to learn their language. And, considering that it's such an ancient and beautiful language, like full of poetry and so productive as well. Like, there's like really good like Bangla cinema. And as I say, like literature and stuff and poetry, like it's so underrated as a languages student to take advantage of that. And I don't want to take advantage. I don't want to not take advantage of it. I don't want to miss out on it. So over the past sort of week, I've been learning Bangla for 6 days now. So tomorrow will be my 7th day of learning Bangla. You guys will be able to come back to the channel and be able to see what I've learned so far in just the first week. Some weeks will be very productive. Some weeks won't. Some weeks I'll get sick. I'm a bit sick at the moment, a bit sniffly. Sorry about that. I mean, really, like if this was like a studio quality, YouTube channel and stuff, I would have delayed until I got better. But that's not what this channel's about. Like this channel's about just showing you the raw experience. So so some weeks will be very productive, other weeks won't, and you'll get to see for yourself along the journey of how it goes. And so I'm planning on documenting the entire journey of like beginner knowing nothing. Like I'll tell you exactly what I knew when I very started learning. I knew Bangla had a different script. I couldn't write a single letter. Okay, I had heard the term balo. I'd heard balo in the masjid. I'd heard people say balo. I'm sure I'd heard that, right? And then that's maybe all I'd heard. Like now I've learned some phrases and stuff that use that term, but literally like I'm talking one word and just the fact has a different script. Like that's literally all, right? And I'm hoping to take you guys along a journey, inshallah, of me getting to a point where I can deliver whole videos in Bangla, like this. So, I think that's everything for this particular video. So without further ado, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I'd like to invite you all to follow and to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you can keep up with the journey. And any advice that you guys have at all about learning Bangla or good resources that you know of, please let me know. Along the way, I will be kind of having conversations with other Bangla students. I have noticed that there are some people who are creating resources online, and there's some other people who are like other like non-Bengalis who are learning Bangla and stuff. And I'll hopefully have them on for episodes where we'll have conversations about learning Bangla. And and we'll just turn this channel into a whole my Bangla diary and see where it takes us. As this is my personal YouTube channel, it's the Sam Martin Burr YouTube channel. There probably will be other kinds of content at some point, maybe. Maybe if I want to do whatever other advice or whatever, but that's kind of really secondary. The point of this channel, the reason why I've created this channel separate to the Sam of Somalia channel and the Arabic in 60 Steps channel is specifically to my Bangla diary. And that's going to be coming out every Sunday night at 9 PM UK time. So, pop it in your calendars. Make sure you're aware of Sunday night, 9 PM UK time. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. I'm really, really looking forward to it. So hope you guys are looking forward to my Bangla Diary episode 1. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.